Last mission. Final boss mode.
Yeah, what's good, yo? Welcome to another episode of Real Talk, where, as always, if shit's real, we talk about it. I'm your host for tonight, Pat Scorpion, the New England representative, and as always, I got my man with me. I'm gonna let him introduce himself.
Yo, what it do? Shuttleworth the God, the GOAT artist, aka LB, Lauderdale boss. You know what it is. Soul Wars creator, Florida in the building. RingGangRadio.com.
Yes, sir. Ring Gang in the house forever and always. And as always, I got my other man with me. I'm gonna let him introduce himself.
What up? You already know who this is. Your boy King P, Bodega Boxer in the building. Ring Gang Radio 24/7. We got a nice uppercut coming for you. Let's get it.
Hey, Bodega P, straight from the sewer. And, as always, man, I know you're keeping the city safe from all the derelicts and shit down there in the sewer with mad uppercuts. And as always, man, we salute you for your service, bruh.
You got Ring Gang endorsing uppercut delinquents and random people now. Hold on, wait.
Yeah, I mean uppercuts, man. It's like we've had this conversation. Like, I know personally you wanted a renaissance of uppercuts because uppercut is just like niggas been doing like their
yeah, nigga, we want them
at a time shit. Like no one wants to throw them damaging punches. Now in 2020, at least that's one thing in boxing that's that's been on the uptick.
We got niggas throwing them. You going to jail now, uppercut.
Shout out to that Cleveland bus driver who threw like one of the greatest uppercuts of all time.
Yeah. And it was captured immaculately on the camera. That that you could see the impact of that shit.
And Shorty displayed one of the best chins of all time.
Because she didn't go to sleep, which was amazing.
Raw, she ate the Chris Bird, Abeabuchi uppercut.
I'm saying,
if only Santa Cruz could take an uppercut like that.
Yeah, wow. So some punches were definitely landed this weekend. Boy, oh boy.
They were, man. Obviously, we'll start with probably the most significant fight, which that occurred. Of course, I'm talking about LSC, Leo Santa Cruz versus Gervonta Tank Davis. They had the pay-per-view Saturday night. It's the main event of a 4-fight card. Should I touch on the undercard real quick? Just run down or go.
Yeah, it was one of the quickest undercards of all time.
Very much so. They didn't fuck around.
Definitely wasn't worthy of pay-per-view.
Yeah. Like I said, if I paid $75 for that, I probably would be mad at myself.
Because you really just got a 1-fight card, really. Yeah,
exactly.
There was no other juicy bouts, no. Although the Pro Grey fight was cool.
Yeah, it was.
It really feels like this could have been a double header with Pro Grey as the co-main, and that was it.
Right, and I don't think. It's going, but his opponent wasn't really co-main material. But his opponent was a Mayweather's fighter anyway. Juan Heradas. I think he was a Mayweather fighter.
I mean, because he was undefeated. This Pro Grey returned back to the ring. I mean, shit, we've gotten way worse co-mains, bro. Really?
Yeah, I mean that's very
a fight of that stature. They pass that off as a main event.
That's very, very, very true. But actually, that wasn't the co-main. I mean, that although it could have been. But yeah, I mean, it was good to see Pro Grey. Pretty much he spammed his left hand like crazy. And eventually got rid of two in the third round, and then we saw possibly nearing the end of the career of one Diego Magdalena, who I never thought really recovered from that horrible beating he got from Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah,
and then he got
probably better off. He had he didn't take that Navarrete.
No, that was his brother that had.
Oh, that was his brother. Yeah, I forgot about. Yeah.
Magdalena, I think, has definitely reached the end of his career. I mean, he got blitzed by Isaac Cruz, and in like 52 seconds. Yeah, shit was brutal.
It was brutal. I think it's I don't want to see him get hurt like that no more. He's had a decent career,
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, he did come up short, in his title shots, But yeah, I think Magdaleno probably needs to definitely. I mean, I know Jamel Herring, he was saying it too. Like there were a couple boxers on the comments and it's like, yeah, Magdaleno, he's done. Saying usually that's very rare. You see fighters extras like, yeah, he's done. But
yeah, and I think first off the whole Alex Saucedo Jr.
Yeah, Alex Saucedo. That's the unfortunate thing.
Yeah, with the brain bleeds and him going,
I say Magdaleno, like hang him up, man. You had a good career. You have nothing to be ashamed of, man. Don't take any more beatings like that. Don't need it.
Participate in boxing in a less dangerous way.
Very much so. And then of course we had Mario Barrios, in an entertaining scrap in the co-main against Ryan Cowboy Carl. Like I said, I mean, it wasn't a high level fight. I mean, it was a straight slugfest. But Cowboy Carl was never on a Barrios level at all. Like I already knew it was good. And eventually, once he drowned, once he got laid into the fight, I mean, he tried though. God bless him. He made it an entertaining scrap, but yeah, it was not on that type of level to challenge Mario Barrios at all. But
I could low-key see what PBC was trying to do. They knew like the fans tank attracts. They don't really care about the undercard. They banking on all the everybody catching just the main event. Mm-hmm. But I feel like they kind of they
booked it so that at least to get them some exposure. Like they didn't want to sit. I mean, if they weren't built to go 12 rounds war, they want some niggas out of the way quick.
Basically.
Yeah, but it was kind of too quick. It's like you needed one fight to kind of go the distance and be good. Like do something. Like
I mentioned before. Like I mean, the Barrios could have stayed in this position, but I wanted him to face Akhmedov again. Like because that fight was the first fight was a fight of the year candidate. I wanted that fight because I was like, Barrios needed to run that back. I wanted to see it, and that would have been a hell of a co-main. That would have been that fight that would have fulfilled that little. But
instead, like Tank LSC is literally the best fight of the card of the night, which I don't mind because it's the pay-per-view and it's the main event. But I always feel like whenever that happens, you really got like a hollow card. Like
and that's what
next year we're not gonna remember nothing else happened that night except the Tank fight.
Yeah,
which I mean is it's the double-edged sword. So I mean that because the Tank fight was that's the one that the most memorable fight, which is a good thing and a bad thing, I guess.
Yeah, because honestly, remember it since it was literally on a boxing day. You're not going to really look at the card and analyze it that much.
And that's the other thing. And that's the other thing. There was too much boxing on Saturday to like. So you had to. You needed that main event to stick out. Like
So you're not going to harp on it because you got fed a little bit that weekend. So you're like, all right, fuck it. I'm just here for the Tank fight. Oh, something happened earlier. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. This wasn't the no marination on this on this card. No marination on pay-per-view.
None
Easy
at all.
bake oven status. Like it's right there. Like
Facts.
next, it's like is that all? Like this year. Here, take your crusty imitation gruel and sit back down, youngster. Like all right. But that opened it up for the main event, which was damn good. It wasn't fight of the year quality, but
no, it was not.
It had the makings of it. Like it had the potential for the intensity that was displayed. Like you didn't really get the knockdowns, but they were scrapping.
Yeah, they were. Like LSC, for all the grief we've given LSC over the years, and
I still give him grief.
We still give him grief for sure. I know I do. I still give him smoke. But one thing though, at least for once, he came ready to fight. Dude was thumping, from the beginning, and look at for the first couple of rounds, like he actually won the first couple of rounds to me. Like he was giving it to Tank.
I don't think he won them big, but I definitely thought he won them. Like,
Yeah, I gave
he
him
was
2
more
rounds.
active. Yeah.
You know, but even then, like, I mean, but and also too, he was also taking. I mean, I thought, okay, you know, he's still taking Tank shots in return. Like he was like, okay, I mean, it wasn't seem like he was bothering him, but I'm just like, I mean, I was like, it's still early in the goddamn fight, you know. And how much is he gonna take from Tank?
They both kind of got hit too much from each other, really.
Yeah, but the difference is one's taking hits from a blown up bantamweight, and the other one is not.
Yeah, honestly, they didn't really look like, honestly, like I'm be real talk, like I think both their sizes were a little comparable. I didn't really see Tank as such a bigger, heavier guy than Leo Santa Cruz. Like Tank looked like he was near that weight, or he really got himself down smaller for like a good while. Like I didn't really think. Like, I think he hits harder than Tank. I mean, he hits harder than Leo off rip.
Yeah, he does.
But I think we saw a better version of Tank because, you know, he took the fight more serious, made weight, was in shape. Seemed like he was in shape for a while, and he focused on technique and being sharp and explosive.
Yeah, and he was super explosive in this fight. And it got to the point, though, where you're seeing LSC take the shots. I'm like, yeah, like, I mean, because I know LC was probably getting hurt because he wasn't doing that handshake and shit he likes to do a whole lot. Yeah. Like, dude,
because LC got a decent frame. Like, he don't look like no little dude in there. You know, like I don't want to say that. I get he's a blown up bantamweight, but
yeah, and this one, I think this one he actually hit the weights too. Because I mean, usually he looks like he's very wiry and shit. Like
that's what I was gonna say. He's usually very stringy.
Yeah,
he didn't look like that. Like Leo Santa Cruz looked like he came to fucking, you know, bring the pain in this shit. Like, so I don't want to really say one guy was undersized. Like, I think they was both equally on point.
Yeah,
one guy was just better than the other.
Yeah, because I think LC knew, like, I mean, he had to hurt the guy, so that's the reason why. Like, he definitely hit the weight and was cutting. So I mean, that was the thing. But LC, but you know, like I said, like a lot of Mexican fighters, I think he took way too much money because like toward like the last 2 rounds of the fight, like I said, because you know LC, he always wrings his hands when he does that. He was stopping to do that shit because he was getting hit hard and clean. You know,
because I mean, if you stand in front of Tank, like if he would have took the approach from the Frampton rematch and use a little lateral movement, turn Tank a little bit and get off first, you know, he could have did better. We might have seen a different fight. You know, that's why I said, like, I always liked this fight because I felt like either guy could win it, although one guy was going to be the clear favorite.
Right.
Santa Cruz was never, you know, over his head. Like, it was never some impossible fight for Santa Cruz. It just, you have to have the right game plan. Like, you can't stand in front of Tank and just let this nigga wail on you, even though you could be, you know, hitting them first.
Exactly. And then, of course, like, you know, once we get into the penultimate round, you know, you see, I mean, Tank was not really starting to land like a whole bunch of serious hooks on LSC. And, you know, LSC, he's trying to fire back. You know, of course, to set up, you know, LSC starts throwing them lead rights. You know, 1 lead right, Tank blocks it. 2 lead rights, Tank blocks it. 3rd one, Tank slips it. You know, and this is what they teach you. Slips it and then throws an uppercut with the opposite hand once he feels that breeze go behind his ear. And, you know, you cannot stop that punch if you're not slipping while throwing a punch. And so LSC, of course, took a sickening, lightning fast uppercut counter, and it was loaded up too, because Tank timed that shit perfectly. Like, you know, and LSC just like, I mean, he collapsed in a heap in this corner. Like, dude was sleeping, like dude was out of there. You know, you see the referee wave, you see LSC's father poking him. They tried to get that shit out. They're trying to see if he was like. Yeah, like,
he wasn't getting it from that. He had a monster.
Yeah. I
mean, he had a Tank type of shot. You know, he had a Tank round.
Yeah, because you can't break yourself, you know, for that type of counter. I mean, unless you have either your jaw takes that or you go to sleep.
The uppercut. Santa Cruz open for the uppercut with his style anyway.
Right. But in this case, though, he was just how that went down. He was prone to it, so it wasn't like he was gonna eat it, or or if obviously Tank could have went to his body with that shot too. But Tank's like, you know what? Yeah, no, home run. This is a grand slam. We're gonna clear the bases with this shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, LC was out cold, and you heard
that nigga.
Yeah. And of course, now with because crowds were allowed, so you heard you heard that crowd reaction. It was like, it was like, and there's only like 9,800 people, give or take, in there. You heard it was like, yeah.
How many people were there?
Like around 9,800, because I think they could have no more than 10,000 in there.
And that's still good numbers, though.
Yeah.
I give it to him for taking the chance and letting boxing being the first one to be like, you know what, we're gonna do this for the fans. That was well played, smart move. Shout outs to Showtime and Floyd and all of them for setting that up like that. Because we really got to see a good, and maybe that's why people are pushing this for KO of the year, because it was the first one back where you had the crowd participation.
Yeah, I think it's probably the only KO of the year. Right, that's the only KO of the year candidate that actually has the fans. All the others are just pretty much, it's either people that were just like, people are like, wow.
Back alley KOs.
Yeah, back alley KOs.
What these niggas are seeing. The sparring KOs.
Yeah.
With this bullshit about, it feels like sparring because no one's there. Like, nigga, boxing, fighting is different. I will never accept that as an excuse.
Exactly.
I'm gonna try to beat your ass no matter if there's 100 people or we're fighting in the desert on some Mortal Kombat stage select shit.
Yeah, especially if you're getting a paycheck for that shit. Nigga, what?
Yeah, like, get the fuck out of here, because you ain't have enough niggas in the room with you. Like,
yeah. Like, nigga, the fans are not gonna fight for you. Like, if you lose and you get damaged, the fans aren't gonna care. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, we'll care, but we're not gonna financially support you like that.
Yeah. Worst excuse ever. Like, I'm so sick of hearing that shit. So maybe I feel like the pay-per-view, like, what kind of sales you think that shit saw?
It's tough because personally, I don't think. I mean,
it was promoted well.
Yeah, it's promoted very well. I mean, if it gets over 200, it's a success, really.
I'd probably say 200, 250.
But yeah, I mean, it all depends because the Charlo pay-per-view only did like 120, like around, give or take. So I mean,
because that was a Charlo pay-per-view, it was nothing. They had to actually give you a solid boxing card around them two niggas,
right?
On a stacked day, ain't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Another Tank with another stack.
I think Tank's a bigger draw than the Charlos.
He's been on a card with them.
Yeah, so I mean, so it's gonna be.
I think they honestly got the same audience, but they never really started marketing the Charlos correctly, like how Tank was. Like,
it's quite different because I mean, Tank had the Floyd and the Broner stimulus package, so that's the whole thing. Tank had.
That's the thing. The Charlos are fucking twins, and they be around Chris Brown, and they be around. They was on a card with Tank and Broner, like.
Right. Yeah, no, but yeah, and it's funny things too. Well, I mean, I'm gonna say that because up until now, like, I mean, they weren't really fighting the right fights either. I mean, although I think Jamel is probably hitting that kind of stride right now.
I think Jamel been making the right fight.
Yeah, Jamel been hit his stride.
Yeah, Jamal, I think, has been looking better, but he hasn't. Like, he hasn't been having the right fights, but like with Tank.
Well, I mean, that division, whatever. This isn't a challenge, so I won't get into this.
Yeah,
but I don't know, that division is full of fights that's not happening though.
Yeah,
that's another story though. Some of it takes place in court, others on the podcast, and others in certain arenas. You know how.
Yes, and then Tank, and this is what we talked about too in our preview, man. Like, if Tank got rid of LSC decisively, it could launch him, and this fight could possibly launch him because, like I said, that KO went viral. Like, that KO was everywhere. It was on Sports Center. It was on YouTube. Like, YouTube, I mean, Showtime cut that shit immediately. Like, I posted it on Facebook. Like, people was like, "That's what happened." Like, I posted, like, my boys I guess some of them were at like a celebration, so they missed the fight. So I posted it in our Google chat. They were like, "Damn!" Like they thought LC was dead after that shot. So it's like that girl got
crazy. That's the type of main event ending you want to see after a good card.
Yeah. Like if
that's the type of fight. Like
because social media in boxing is powerful and we'll get into how powerful it can be a little later with another different subject. But when something is positive and something like that can build the sport, it's a very positive thing. So when you have all these clips, when you have people repeatedly, playing that clip and seeing LC knocked unconscious by a younger fighter, it's like, oh shit, this is
doing voiceovers and all that other shit.
Yeah, it's just like, damn, we gotta watch this guy, and of course Floyd was happy as shit. Like, Floyd had to catch himself because like, wait a minute, I didn't score this KO. Like, I gotta let Tank do this shit.
I don't think Floyd ever had a KO that damn impressive. Like
on a pay-per-view, I mean, unless you cut Ortiz, but I really don't.
Hell no, Ortiz, nah, fuck that.
Well, it's legit, but yeah, we're not. Yeah,
I mean, it's legit, but there ain't no highlight, I mean, a one-punch counter KO, like.
Oh yeah, no, like you won't.
Like I'm just trying to think right now, like what fight Floyd has like that, like.
Yeah, no, Floyd doesn't have. I mean, obviously his pool counter, but he never KO'd anyone big with a pool counter. Or anything like that. Like he doesn't have a whole bunch of one punch.
And not on that status of victory too, because like Leo Santa Cruz, like honestly, like if Leo Santa Cruz would have won this fight, he would have wrote his ticket for the Hall of Fame.
And I would be forced to give him some props. I'd be like, well,
damn.
Yeah, but
no, seriously, like because Leo Santa Cruz had all the right stats, multiple titles in different divisions. He's usually in the top 3 or 4 guys of each division he's in.
We would have went from spoiling on the vine to Hall of Fame. Like that's quite the jump. But
Tank is quite the fighter, bruh.
I wouldn't call him Hall of Fame, but I would have to change my tune a little bit.
Yeah, I would have had to.
Look, okay. If I'll temper my statements a bit, he might not be first ballot Hall of Fame.
Oh.
But dude, look. He got the wins over Abner Mares. He revenged Frampton. He has a shitload of meaningless fights, but the Tank win would have been big for him.
I don't know. He just doesn't feel, even with that, he doesn't feel Hall of Fame. But then again, I don't know what the fuck feels like Hall of Fame these days anymore.
Right.
The nigga has a Chris John type of career.
That's what I'm saying. And if you ask if Chris John should be in the Hall of Fame, niggas would look at you like you got 5 heads.
Yeah.
No, but if he would have fucking countered Marquez in that jungle they fought and knocked him out like that, then you know what? I wouldn't complain. I say, you know what? I mean, because you got to remember, this is like if Tank gets another couple wins like this, like he's definitely writing his ticket for Hall of Fame. I said Santa Cruz because y'all niggas seen Crawford is fucking is a Hall of Fame, and he ain't got no big names, but niggas do like.
Yeah, but Crawford also hasn't had. I mean, like I said before, LC had some fights he avoided in his prime. Like obviously the Regal fight being
nigga. Like Crawford ain't beat nobody on Frampton level, in my opinion.
And that's the thing though. Like LC, like for all he did, like I mean, LC is created as before. It doesn't feel Hall of Famers because, like I said, he's had so many fights because he could have took, but he didn't. That's why that was the whole point of this fight. It was like a redeeming. That's why, because this is the thing. I know you weren't really for this fight, but I saw what they was doing with the whole marketing approach. This is about the safest, most biggest, yet threatening fight that you could have gotten to Tank, and it was still a quality fight for Santa Cruz. Like, cause remember we was talking about how if Santa Cruz, this is a big redeeming factor for that nigga. Like, yeah, no, in a way, yes, he did redeem himself because he put
And
on.
people saying he still redeemed himself and he got knocked the fuck out.
Yeah, because he actually made it a fight. That's the whole thing. Like, I mean, the fight was close. Like,
Look, imagine if he would have won a decision on some 116, 112 type of shit and he won clearly. We'd be all singing a different tune about this dude. I'm just saying, I'm not going to, shit on the man's career or anything. Like, we've done that enough before. It just, at the end of the day, like, I feel like this fight was made for both of them to really just get a higher standard in the sport, and Tank did. And since Santa Cruz showed a good effort,
right,
he did too. But now it's like we're all gonna look at Santa Cruz as like maybe he wasn't as good as he was supposed to be, and maybe that you're only gonna see the best come out of him when you put him in there with a quality, dangerous opponent. I feel like Tank is in the same category.
Yeah,
you put Tank in there with a Gamboa and someone that we don't give a fuck that he's not a threat, you get that type of performance. You put him in there with Santa Cruz, and you get this. Like,
yeah, but I mean, at least Tank now is young enough too, where it's like, okay, you bodied somebody like I've never been knocked out before. Like, Tank can build off this. Like, I mean, he can avoid the LSC type of career path.
Yeah, because remember, he was falling into that shit last year.
Yeah, he was definitely falling.
Definitely, we had discussions about it, so that's why this shit just made sense. Like, you had two niggas spoiling on the Vine, and you had them fight each other. This was like fucking Margarito Paul Williams for me. Like,
yeah,
the two most avoided niggas fight each other. The two most Vine spoilingest niggas fight each other. And we got two good fights out of both of them. One was a good 12-round fight. Another one was a good fucking brutal KO. So
exactly, and like I said, this KO part can lead to big things for Tank though, and it also shows too that Tank needs to be around Floyd, needs to be in Vegas. Like, Tank cannot go do his own thing anymore until he gets a little bit more mature. Per se, like
that, I just don't want to see no lateral or backwards matchmaking. And I agree. Like you took him to this level with Santa Cruz. Keep the path going, and keep him focused. Don't have no bullshit fights anymore.
No more bullshit conditioning, because because we all ripped that Gamboa fight to shreds. For him.
Because I never saw the Santa Cruz as a cherry pick. Like just because I know some people are gonna remember me getting at the Canelo Kovalev, this fight was way different than the circumstances. Like, everything was way different.
I mean, I guess so, but I foresaw this. I said Santa Cruz is gonna take his payday and the ass whipping that come with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. We all said it. Who fucking picked Santa Cruz to win?
But I felt like this was like because I remember I'm like, this just feels like a glorified payday from the start for Santa Cruz. Like,
right. At least he had a fucking chance. Kovalev never had a chance, and the whole fight just never got the respect it was supposed to get because we shouldn't have got that fight.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I won't argue that against you because you were the one that said it from the beginning. So, I mean,
niggas like argument proof on that issue. Like, well, he did say, like, there's certain shit you can't argue with this nigga, future guest on Ring Game. Cannot argue the Canelo Kovalev fight. Being a cherry pick. And you cannot argue the Wilder Fury rematch. Because I would just be like, well, I picked Fury by KO 7th round.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that, But hopefully, hopefully we see Santa Cruz back in there where, with a non-Vine spoiling fight. And same with Tank if he just keeps going.
I mean, we might get the leftover Vine spoiler, the second Vine spoiler number 2.
Gary Russell,
make the cipher complete.
Yeah, because even though because LSC still holds a featherweight title and that hasn't gone anywhere. That's so and it depends what Gary wants to do. Like, honestly, now, LSC again, I like that the LSC Gary fight kind of lost its luster a little bit.
I don't think it lost its luster. I still want to see that shit because this shit has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, I mean, LC still has a featherweight title in this ground.
Look, bro, look. You put Turbo Fist and LLC on the same card and didn't have them fight each other. That fight is gonna sell.
Yeah.
Shit, fuck it. Have Gary Russell fight Tank. Have them get brutally KO'd, and then the Violence Spoilers can fucking fight each other when they were both damaged. Like everybody's back to square one, back on even playing.
What is this, Brooke Khan?
But speaking of Gary too, Gary though he got on the camera ASAP and was talking and you know he was hating hard. Like dude was like, oh, that ain't nothing. So, you know, Gary's a funny dude, and then people are calling him Captain Cap in the comments.
Cause it's like people are tired of boxers running they fuck box, and not making the fights we want to see. Like, and honestly, the fight has legs because Tank and Russell, you know, and just to branch off with the poll in this motherfucker. Today we had the Ring Game poll, 6 hours ago. What are your feelings toward the idea of a Tank Russell fight? Let me refresh it. They said at 130. 38 votes. Not bad. People like the fight is deleting the votes at 60% 0.5. Dislike is 10.5%. So you got some niggas that just don't like boxing or something. I don't know. Like I can understand because I was indifferent. I voted indifferent, which is at 28.9. If we don't get it, I'm fine. If we do get it, hey, that's cool. But I don't dislike the fight. God, like, who are you? Like,
yeah. I mean, I like the fight because I'm a Gary fan. So I definitely want to see it because mostly I want to see Gary in the ring and in the ring with somebody that would challenge him.
He could shadow box him.
Nah, because I mean, if you would have asked me this
at this point,
if you would have asked me this a week ago, I probably wouldn't have liked the fight just because it doesn't make any sense. But I mean, whatever. We just had a fight that made sense but didn't make sense. So fuck it. Why not have another one that makes sense but doesn't make sense?
I'm saying.
Tank could be like the Chad Dawson of 130 and just clean up all the old niggas that should have been got it on or some shit.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Like, obviously Tank has been talked about for 130 and 135, man. So what do you think he should actually steer his attention to? Like, 135 actually has the bigger, more popular name because 135 is buzzing hard.
Well, 130 got the most winnable fights for him. Like Tank and Burchell. Like, I think I actually want to see that next.
And
Shakur's talking about he's gonna be fighting Burchell next year.
And I wouldn't mind that either. Like, I think there's good fights at either division, really. But I think
I heard Burchell might be moving up to 135. So
yeah, and that's the thing too. It's like too because obviously because these are not PBC fights. These are not like
that's the other thing. They're too much politicals, too much moving parts.
Yeah, damn. So fuck it. We just wanted to cut the conversation short then because we already started talking about the other side of the street. We may as well start talking about them niggas.
So we can't but I will say this too. I mean, Tank at 130, 135. He has fights available, but it depends. It will remain to be seen how that where Floyd will steer him. Because I mean, Floyd's not a stupid man because Floyd knows that no one on PBC 130, 135 has that type of name.
Well, what's the interview? They said Floyd said they're looking at maybe one more fight until
before Teofimo.
Before Teofimo, and
Teofimo can't do another. I don't even think he can make 135 anymore. So
I don't think so either.
Like, he'll make it, but they're gonna have to sweeten that pot a little bit. They're gonna have to give him some motivation to make it.
But that'll be honestly one of the biggest fights for like the youth, like boxing. Like we need to start getting bigger fights when these guys are younger and hungrier in their prime. Like, I want to see big fights where niggas is 25, 26 years old. Mm-hmm. Like I'm tired of these big fights and the motherfuckers like, well, he's 35, 37 and fighting a guy that's 27 and
he's 38.
Look, I don't want to watch niggas my age in title fights and shit. Like, I'm just saying, like, If you older than the ring gang niggas and you on pay-per-view main events, I'm just looking at you like,
Yeah, you 38 and you still boxing.
Yeah, it's like that. I'm not clowning. I'm just saying, like, damn, like, where did the sport go wrong where you couldn't get this opportunity 10 years ago?
I'm saying.
Marination.
Yeah. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, hopefully niggas could get it on in these younger fights and leave all these Rip Van Winkle ass fights alone. So Chisora time, right? War time.
Yeah,